it all started, 19 years ago, nobody ever dreamed it would grow to this. Who'd have guessed someday we'd be running stock cars at 144 miles an hour? Who'd believe that 70,000 fans would find their way to a tiny South Carolina town to watch something that wasn't here 20 years ago? There are other big tracks now, but this was the first. There are other races, but here's where big league stock car racing was born, at Darlington, in the Southern 500. Race day. Only 13 different men have ever won a Southern 500. There's 44 fellas like me hoping to win a place alongside them in the history books. Some of us got special reasons. Buddy Baker. He was 12 years old when his daddy won the Southern 500 in 1953. Buddy'd like to prove he's as good a racer as his father. Cale Yarbrough was born and raised 8 miles from Darlington. He'd surely like to make a hometown crowd proud of him. He qualified a Mercury at 144.830 miles an hour. Next to Cale in the front row is Charlie Glotzback's Dodge. He ran exactly the same speed, down to the last hundredth of a second. Behind Cale Yarbrough in row 2 is Leroy Yarbrough, no kin to Cale except their style of racing. Flat out. Next to Leroy, Darrell Derringer, who won this race 2 years ago. The only other defending champion is Richard Petty, last year's winner. That spring on his helmet takes the strain off his neck in high-speed turns. Next to Richard is Donnie Allison, driving Ford number 27. Notice how careful we fuss with our safety harness. In row 4, Paul Goldsmith, a smart old veteran. The toughest veteran of them all, Curtis Turner, who won more than 300 races in a career that goes back 20 years. Back in the 8th row, Dave Pearson, winner of the Rebel 400 last spring. An ear infection kept Pearson from qualifying for a better starting position. Then, gentlemen, start your engines. Suddenly, you're alone with yourself, your car, and the Darlington Raceway. Charlie Glotzback moves to the outside. That's the privilege of the pole position winner. He's got to be the first to cross the starting line. This is the pace lap, to warm the engines and get the butterflies out of our stomachs before the flying start. Back in 16th starting position, Dave Pearson's number 17 Ford is rolling. He's got some catching up to do. There are 17 Fords, 6 Dodges, 5 Mercurys, 6 Plymouths, 7 Chevys, and 1 Buick. 6 of the front runners broke last year's track record by qualifying at better than 143 miles an hour. Into the first turn. The banking lets 2 cars run side by side at 130. But we don't know what'll happen at 140. The faster you go, the smaller the track seems to be. It's 1 3/8 miles, but as speed goes up, there's less and less room to pass. Up the backstretch, halfway back to the starting line and heading for the 3rd turn. To go fast through the third turn, you got to drive right up against the guardrail. That rail's got more of our paint than a hardware store. On the front stretch, the fans are as eager as we are. Ready now. Easy. There's the green. Let's race. Cale Yarborough's Mercury beats Charlie Glotzback into the first turn. Richard Petty holds third spot in a Plymouth with Leroy Yarborough's Ford right on his bumper. "44 cars string out on the backstretch, ready to single file through that third turn as 70,000 fans watch every move. That third turn is only wide enough for one car at racing speed. End of lap 1. Cale Yarborough in front. Petty's challenging for position 2. He's got it. It's Cale Yarborough, Richard Petty, Charlie Glotzback, Leroy Yarborough pacing the Southern 500 at better than 140 miles an hour. Petty wants to lead. Two cars in trouble. Don Tarr in number 0 pushes George Davis almost a quarter of a mile. Both cars are still running. That's one thing we've learned in 19 years. Build them strong. Cale Yarborough hangs on to the lead, turning laps at 141.5 miles an hour. 35 seconds flat for the mile and 3/8. It's not fast enough. Richard Petty challenging. Petty and Leroy Yarborough get past Cale, who was pinched between a race car and the guardrail, while turning left at 140 miles an hour. Things like that make a race driver old before his time, let me tell you. Richard Petty's Plymouth shows Leroy Yarborough the groove through turn 3 and 4. But here comes Leroy. Takes the lead. Yarborough in number 98 Ford is running in front. Petty may be laying back, studying how Leroy's car is handling. There's a lot more to racing than a heavy foot. Cale Yarborough's slowing down and heading for the pits. This'll just about ruin Cale's chance to win. But hard driving has worn Yarborough's tires, and he's got to change all 4 of them. We try to pace ourselves and change only 2 tires each time we stop. The Wood Brothers crew is all over that car, but Leroy and Richard are running off and hiding. Cale's lost 2 laps. A car in trouble. It's big trouble now. Nine cars tangle in the first turn. And when the dust settles, 7 of them are scattered on the track apron. Pete Hamilton's okay. So's Roy Trantham. But there's a man hurt. It's Bobby Mossgrover, driver of the car the others spun to avoid. Bobby was able to jump out of his car, so he can't be too badly hurt. Seatbelt, shoulder harness, roll bars, and helmets save us all a lot of grief. H.B. Bailey's all right. Bobby Isaac's car is out of the race, that's for sure. There's Isaac, along with Pete Hamilton. 2 lucky, but disappointed drivers. Let's take another look to figure out what happened. Mossgrover's car was on fire when it slid up from the inside apron. Jabe Thomas squeezed through, hitting the rail, as Bobby Isaac hit Mossgrover broadside. Hamilton lost control and spun into Isaac. Roy Trantham slid right through the middle of the pack. H.B. Bailey put the finish on Isaac's car as it slid up near the guardrail. That was bad news for John Sears, who's right in the middle of the picture, but heading for trouble in a hurry. Only Mossgrover was shaken up. Can't say the same for the cars. A couple of them are ready for the scrap heap. We're racing again. Leroy Yarbrough still leading, but caught in slow traffic. Here's Cale Yarbrough, squeezing through, slamming the wall again. Cale lost 2 laps in a pit stop. Now he's got one of them back. Half a lap later, Cale's passing Darrell Derringer for 4th place. Cale's been running a steady 141 on new tires, and he could still be a threat. That boy can really drive. Leroy Yarbrough, the leader, is slowing down. Something's wrong. Yarbrough's engine locks up and he slides. Out of the race. Leroy's led just about every big race this year, but can't manage to win one. Yarbrough's all right. Nothing hurt but his feelings. Cars are tangling all over the backstretch. Jim Hurtubise gets 2 wheels on the wall as Tiny Lund and Darrell Derringer ride the length of the backstretch at 100 miles an hour. Sideways. Hurtubise is all right after slamming against both inside and outside retaining walls. The rest of us make our pit stops under the caution signal. It'll be a brand new race when the green shines again. Tiny Lund's not hurt, but the car's through. Same for Darrell Derringer, Southern 500 winner 2 years ago. When the green flag turns us loose, Donnie Allison has the lead. Dave Pearson's right behind, and Cale Yarbrough in 3rd, bounces off the wall. Look at that fella drive. I've never seen the like of it. Half a lap after he slammed the wall, Yarbrough's in the lead. Trouble ahead. There's a blown engine under the hood of Richard Petty's Plymouth. Richard thinks fast and heads for the pits. Petty was running fit before that engine let go. He's a fine driver who's been down on his luck this year. Cale Yarbrough and Dave Pearson are moving to a showdown. Donnie Allison slows his Ford. Engine's been acting poorly. Petty's through for the day. He was the one and only driver able to pass Yarbrough in a flat-out battle during the early laps. Now Dave Pearson's trying to do the same, but Yarbrough's not giving way. The leaders are in trouble. Yarbrough holds the lead as Dave Pearson slides into the infield. Pearson keeps the engine running, but he's lost valuable time. Yarbrough's got half a lap lead with less than 50 miles to race, but that smoke means there's metal rubbing against his tire. I'll bet he won't pit until he finds out what Pearson's going to do. There's Pearson on the pit road. When you slide like he did, you scrape the rubber off your tire. We call it flat spotting. If you're not careful, you'll soon be running on air instead of rubber. Meanwhile, Cale's running 140 on tires he knows have been cut by jagged metal. How brave can a man be? Pearson's on his way, as Yarbrough is told to stop before he grinds through that tire. The Wood Brothers crew is worried. Here's the leader needing service and only 30 seconds to spare. Hard to believe that car was brand new 3 hours ago. There's $25,000 first place money hanging on how well his crew works. 5 men go over the wall to change the outside tires, do a little body work on the left front, pour water on Cale, who's exhausted by the heat, and fill the gas tank, all at the same time. You won't believe it, but Cale was standing still only 19 seconds. Here comes Pearson. It's going to be close. Pearson's chief mechanic, Dick Hutcherson, waits for the leaders to come into sight. Cale's leading. Buddy Baker in Dodge number 3 moves over, letting Cale get by. Baker's been running without brakes, and that don't inspire a man to run hard. No, sir. Cale's still the leader with 15 miles to race, but Pearson's gaining. Hutcherson, a retired driver, would give anything to take the wheel for Pearson. You know the hardest thing for a driver to do? Quit. You want to know why? Just look at this race. That's why. Pearson gets by Baker and closes in on Yarbrough. It's anybody's race. Darlington don't let a man pass any time or any place he wants to. Unless you catch the car ahead on the front stretch or the first turn, you're not likely to catch him anyway. Pearson's running out of time. Both cars have Ford's high-performance engines. Both cars are set up by top mechanics. Both are driven by great drivers. Pearson's making his bid. Cale Yarbrough nails his foot to the floor and keeps the lead. Pearson's not giving up. He's won 12 races this season and leads in point standings for the Nascar Championship. Cale's won races on 3 big speedways this year, but he's never won in front of a hometown crowd at Darlington. There's a lot more than money riding on these last few laps. Pearson's trying again. Cale holds him off, running 142 miles an hour. Through turns 3 and 4, there's no room to pass there. Pearson's got to make it now or never. After this lap's finished, there's only one more left in the race. The white flag is out, and Cale Yarbrough's just about 1 mile away from victory. Pearson hangs on, looking for any chance to pass. All Cale's got to do is to keep her running for the rest of this lap. There's the checkered flag for Cale Yarbrough. Pearson's challenge fell 1 car length short. The Wood brothers are mighty happy to see the end of one of the most fantastic races ever run here. Buddy Baker moves to take the checker in 3rd spot. Charlie Glotzback took 4th. Cale Yarbrough's made a boyhood dream come true. Cale said, "It was the hardest day I ever had, the hardest race I ever ran." One look at Cale's face, you know that's the truth. This win gives Cale Yarbrough victories on 4 major superspeedways in 1 year. The first time that's been done by anybody in the history of NASCAR racing. He also has passed the $100,000 mark in purses earned in a single year. Also in victory lane is Bobby Allison, who receives the Bob Colvin Memorial Award as the best driver performing without factory help. Honors also go to Richard Brickhouse, awarded the Fireball Roberts Memorial Trophy by the Falstaff Brewing Corporation. Brickhouse started in 40th spot and finished 11th to win this Rookie of the Year trophy. The 19th Southern 500 is part of racing history now. There's not a man in racing wouldn't be pleased to change places with Cale Yarbrough right now. Every driver I know dreams that someday he's going to be able to tell the world, I won the Southern 500 at Darlington.
Charlie Gluckback.